Remember, I talked to a kid in Austin, Texas. I remember this when I was in prison, and he told me about he was arrested. He was an Illuminati person. I don't think he was an Illuminati person at the time. He was at the bus stop I was at by FedEx, and he was telling me about all this stuff, prison related, like drug, whatever. When you use drugs, and you get arrested, and you probation, like that kind of stuff. Whatever. I think that's the word for it. And I was telling him I was so into YouTube, and I was like, dude, you should just take your experience and make YouTube videos. So how am I gonna go to prison for 3 days and not almost 3 days, just under 3 days, because I still donate plasma. Um, how am I going to talk about my experience? First thing, this generation's soft. I knew it. I said it. I knew it. I know it. I could beat the shit out of a lot of people that are a lot bigger than me in the physical world, in the spiritual world, and in the mental world. And that means I can beat the shit out of a lot of people that are a lot bigger than me. I beat the shit out of a lot of people in a lot of different ways. And that allows me to, I can take advantage of people if I want to, if they are evil or they are trying to manipulate me. I am justice. I'm powerful. I'm good. I become justice in a sense. But besides, generation is soft. I just wanted to emphasize that because I said it before and I got no acknowledgement. But I know what I'm talking about in most cases. When I strongly make a point about something, it means that I'm confident in my knowledge of talking about it. I was arrested not because I was trespassing. I was arrested for all the spiritual work I've done in this area. And the law enforcement, highly satanic, highly Illuminati. So the spiritual work I've been doing out here and outside by this park, Sunset Park, it pissed them off so much that they had to summon these spirits or aliens, whatever they were, to I still don't know if they're connected to the Illuminati or they're above the Illuminati. I don't know. Because they trained me to pray before I went to McDonald's to call 911 because I was freaking out. And it was almost staged where the people who I saw in my reality were connected to the voices I was hearing. And it was like a trick. It was like a trick to get me to do anything where they could arrest me. They'd be trying to piss me off and get me to do stuff to get me arrested. But a big part of it was besides pissing them off in the spiritual world, they just want to throw away some of my shit that makes it harder for me because I don't. The way I get money, donating blood and waiting for my gaming channel to pay me once a month, you could put me in a real serious bind by tissue. By taking things that are important to me. There's no freaking tissue. Are you kidding me? There's no tissues? No way. There's no. I gotta walk upstairs and get toilet paper because they use all stupid toilet paper. Oh no, we got the seat covers. I use those. So a big part of it was to throw away important things like my sleeping bag. They threw away my lock randomly out of my bag for my for going to the gym that I used to lock the locker at the gym at Planet Fitness. They threw away that lock for no reason. Just because I know exactly why they did it. It doesn't make any sense, but if you understand the Illuminati, they threw it away because I've protected my spiritual energy like a lock. They threw it away to try to get into my spiritual energy and into my mental energy and into my, the Holy Spirit, all three of those spiritual energies they tried to get into because I've been like a lock and they can't get into it. And they do this all the time. They'll fuck with doors or do stuff with doors and then say spells or they're fixing a door, stuff like that. Stuff related to a lock or a door to try to use their magic to, but I'm too strong. It doesn't work. And then another thing was they had demons set up. I think they literally arrested people who had been in prison before on purpose once I was arrested to try to prey on my energy, my mental, my spiritual energy to try to get me to like lose my soul and like, or like lose my mind, like one of the two. Because they put me, I mean, they put everybody in the solitary confinement first. I think that's like a common thing. It's like to embarrass you. I don't know if it's everybody, but I got in a huge thing when they put me in the line at the beginning where you first get going to prison, like the entry thing, and you go through this like you sit in these seats and you go through all these windows and you talk to these people, and they kept putting me next to the most vicious demon Satanist prisoners, and like I had to pray battle my way through that entry point, and then went through the solitary confinement because I started getting mad at the law enforcement officers because when I would pray in my head, whether I pray in my head or out loud, when it would get intense, I would pray out loud. Either way, when I prayed in my head or prayed out loud, it bothered the crap out of them. And then I put them on the spot for me praying Catholic prayers, bothering law enforcement. That's messed up. That's scary. We literally have law enforcement justice system that's evil. That's satanic. And I proved it. Every single law officer in that prison hated when I prayed in my head or out loud. They hated it. They needed to be quieted, or when I prayed in my head, it would affect them. And all it was in my head. It wasn't out loud. It would impact them. Then they put me through the solitary confinement. Then they put me in a room by myself. I think just to like see if I was like soft or not. I don't really know. I mean, they do that I think for everybody just to see how they respond to being put in a prison cell by themselves. Um, but it was kind of like it was obviously like being in one room, but at the same time, like I definitely appreciated the construction of the room, whatever adhesive they used to put the wood boards up uh, against like other materials. Like it was super sturdy, and I did construction inspection for a while, so I couldn't help but notice like whatever adhesive they used, I want that adhesive for like if I build a tiny house or I build a mobile home. Like it was amazing. Like it was super strong and it was super. When they installed it, they did a very good job. It was like unbelievable. And then another thing that was really cool to me were the mattresses that they had in prison. They're like these like space, like the material of the outside was like durable but comfortable. And then they were just these little mattresses that were like silver, but they're comfortable. Like in comparison to like what I've been using and stuff, like that little pad and stuff. What I found out slowly but surely was that prison is a lot easier than what I've been doing for years, what this government has put me through for years, and stealing my business, making me essentially like at the lowest of the low in income in this country. Like either I have to do that or I have to just work for a company. And I decided to fight for my businesses because I knew that the work that I put in, all the work I put in all these years means something to me. And then two, like this is like the like my gaming industry, my vlogging industry. These are things that I enjoy to do, and I want to keep doing them. And I've done them in a way where I should be making money from them. So there's a lot of reasons why I basically stay homeless to protest my business. Because if I work a job, it's not as obvious to people that I'm this famous content creator, but yet I'm homeless. And there's obviously an issue there. There's obviously clear corruption in our country from that aspect. So, and then on top of that, like you get like an hour of free time in prison every day. But the room I was in had a toilet with like running water, like everything that I run around to do was all right at my cell. And then they serve you food 3 times a day right at your door. And it's like a highly nutritious, like well balanced meal with like a tray and like even a drink thing. Like to me, it was a luxury. To me, all the things I've been through and all the things I've done to fight for my business that this country, this corrupt, evil country has put me through, it was easy. Like it was easier being in prison. And then they literally, and I started working out. I was doing like full body workouts. I was doing like horse squats, push-ups. I can do push-ups now with my knee, which I couldn't do for a while, for a long time. I couldn't do push-ups. I couldn't like support myself with like half my body or half my lower body with that like leg. Like I was unable to do push-ups, or it just wasn't like I wasn't doing them with good form, so it didn't make sense for me to do them. So I was doing like horse squats, push ups. There's enough room in there, just enough room in those rooms, in those cells for me to do that. And then like ab stuff too, I started doing. So I was getting these full body workouts. They're watching me on this camera. They're getting pissed off because I'm like, prison's easy to me. And I'm literally like just sitting there meditating, praying. I prayed the crap out of my cell like area. Like I prayed so much that it bothered other people in other cells. They moved me to a room with a roommate on purpose. And I didn't like, I wasn't like acting out. I wasn't doing anything like bad or anything. Um, and they moved me from this room where I'm perfectly fine to a room where I have a roommate. And the first thing he tells me, there's a mattress on the floor. And he's like, yeah, the last dude who was here, he pissed all over that. He's this fucking demonic Illuminati entity, just straight demon, who literally cursed and hexed the last person so bad that they pissed their mattress and then needed to leave. That's what happened before I got there. So this is the first thing I see when I get to the next room with like I have a roommate in prison. Not a big dude. Even if it was a big dude, like, dude, you want to try to push me around? You think you're bigger than me? You think you're tougher than me? I will fucking beat the shit out of you, and I will take a week's worth of solitary confinement, and I will fucking, like, I'm waiting for that present. Like, I was waiting for that present. I was waiting for some fucking retard to try to, like, actually physically do anything to me in prison thinking they're tough. And, like, I've been waiting to whoop somebody's ass. And that is a great opportunity for me. Like, I'll take a week's worth of solitary confinement, meditate, pray, get used to the isolation. It probably take a few days. I would take that punishment just to whoop fucking somebody, make an example of them so bad. So bad. Leave them bloody. Maybe send them to a hospital straight out of prison. I don't care. That shit happens. That's the shit I've been waiting for. Put me in a room with a guy who's, like, being nice to me. He's, like, smaller than me. But he's like an athletic dude. He's like he's got energy. That's the point. He's got energy. So, and he was crazy. He was like laughing under his like blanket. I mean, he's not say he's crazy. He's possessed by a demon or he is a demon. So he's like him and his demon are like talking to themselves under his blanket. He's like laughing about like what they're talking about, like how they're gonna like do stuff to me or hex me. It was just like weird. So I don't put the mattress on top of the top bunk. You have bunks in prison. Every room has a bunk. I didn't put the mattress up because it smelled like piss. I tried to wash it. It didn't matter. Like the urine seeped through the thing and you could smell it regardless. I'm not even going to use this. I put my heavy blanket down and use that as a mattress. And then I use two other blankets that are sheets that are like light. And then I use those as my blankets. And then basically every time me and this dude were in the room, it was a fucking pray, spell, hex battle. And I whooped him. It took hours. I had to pray for like 3 or 4 hours to finally get him to cry enough where they released him from the cell. But he was like fighting. He was fighting for his demon's life. He was doing like jumping jacks. He was doing like push-ups while I was praying. I started covering my ears to get everything really in my head because that gets really in their head. And that's what I was doing. I was covering my ears and I was praying in my head. And I just smoked him. He cried and he had to leave. And he even had to sit outside in the free time area until they said you can leave because he couldn't be in the cell with me because I bitched his fucking punk ass out in the spirit world. And he was like the strongest. Like they found this guy like off the street knowing who he was. Like one of the cops knew who he was. Like they like knew each other. They talked to each other like they knew each other. And like it was a setup. And yeah, like I prayed the crap out of them. And they didn't even think that was gonna happen. And then like a little bit after they released him, but even when he was sitting outside, like waiting to get picked up, like a little baby fucking kid in elementary school, waiting to get picked up by his mom because he got beat up in school. He got bullied in school. That's what it was like. He was like waiting in the principal's office to get picked up because he got bullied in school. He was crying too bad. That's exactly what it felt like. I was literally peeking through the window like he was trying to fucking leave. Like every time it got too bad for him, he would stand next to the door and like put his head in the window, like cry to whatever Illuminati, Satanist people he could like talk to in his head. And then he had to sit outside of the room. It was fucking like weak. He's like worn out because I prayed the crap out of him. And then I was praying him through the window. I was like, I'm gonna get you, dude. I'm gonna get your guardian angels to take that demon out of your body. And I was praying him, and they literally had to save him. And like 10 minutes after he sat outside, they had to take him out because I was still whooping him in the spirit world.